Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union,
Jim Karras Chevrolet with George Gully, For Memphis Magazine, the Live at the Garden concert series, and the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis. And by Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, family owned and operated for more than 40 years. And brought to you by High-Low Commercial Services, owned by the cleanest man in the world. And by Walker Auctions, LLC. When it's time to sell, Walker Auctions doesn't fiddle around. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And thank you very much, and welcome to Lansky's, right off the lobby here at the world-famous Peabody Hotel. My special guest today is a good friend for many years, Steve Conley.
Hello, Earle.
Welcome to the show.
Earle, it's a pleasure. Thank you. It's first time in this location. It's great. I've been on your radio show, but this is, what a setup.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah. I mean, Beth and Rob.
Yeah. I mean, they got the best crew in the world. Take a wide shot of you so you're here, and then Beth is over here on camera number 3, and there's Steve Conley himself, and in a Lansky's jacket, no less.
Right.
And did they give you a good parking place there right off?
Oh, man, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's,
hey, when you're on the Earle Farrell show, you know.
red carpet, baby.
All the way.
Yeah.
But you got to help us tear down. I didn't tell you that.
Oh,
God. All the stuff back
It's like
out
somebody dropped a pile of spaghetti here. It's crazy.
Well, it takes a technician to put all this together, then a producer to make it all work, but it looks great.
Amazing.
Congratulations to you. Recently it was announced that you'll be going into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, and that is a tremendous honor, and you certainly deserve it.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to figure out how that guy got inducted, but I will certainly thankful that they selected me for this. And, you know, it's total surprise. You were there when surprise. I mean, I broke down. It was like, what?
Steve Conley was actually speechless. I've never seen that happen before.
I thought it was a little birthday thing. It was my birthday was a couple of days later, and it was myself, Kevin Kane, and Ron. And another friend pops up, and then I look back, and there's Jeannie, my wife, and then you're back there, and Amy, my daughter, my son-in-law has got a camera. I'm going, what the hell? And, you know, here we are.
Well, it was, when I heard about it, I said, so what are we going to do? Ron goes, well, they're going to meet over at
Bog and Barley.
Which is a great restaurant. I mean, it's just fabulous looking. They spent more on that restaurant than probably Owen Brennan's the only one anybody's ever spent more money on years ago.
Sure.
But it was a great location. Loved going there. But you were stunned over it, but it's well deserved. I mean, you think about the history you've had in coming to Memphis, and let's go back in that history. You came from Wisconsin, and you came to work for Bill Tanner in his jingle factory here.
Yeah, I was sentenced for that about a year and a half, 2 years.
But, you know,
it was
huge in those days. I mean, he was a heck of a business.
As you start reflecting back, everybody, you included, have had a fork in the road in your life. You go one way, your life is going to be totally different than if you went the other.
Yep.
When I met my wife, I was leaving 1960 Union. It's raining like heck. And so I was either going to pull over to the bank and cash a couple of checks or keep going, driving rain. And so I said, I'll pull over. I saw Clarence Johnson, who you know, a good friend.
Yep.
And he says, a couple of girls are having a party. You want to go? And boom, you know, that was, and then a year
Well,
later.
that's really all it took to get your attention. A couple of girls are having a party.
Cute girls. And she's beautiful. And so here you go. And but the other fork in the road was back in 79 when I was offered this job at Tanner. And like many people, I'm sure you had the same thing where I was 50-50 about coming to Memphis, you know, leaving 20 below zero up there, coming to Memphis where I didn't know a soul. It's like, what am I doing? I'm driving the U-Haul across the bridge. I didn't know but one person, sort of, and here we are.
Interesting. I moved here in 78 under similar circumstances. I had my U-Haul out on the back coming from Dallas.
Yeah.
And all my worldly possessions, and it wasn't even
too.
a big U-Haul. Because I'd been married, I had 5 years, but didn't have any children. I just wanted out. And I didn't know anybody here in Memphis, and came here. Channel 3. And got here and started meeting people almost immediately. The great thing about Memphis, and I think you would agree, is if they like you here in Memphis, you're good as gold. If they don't like you, they don't speak to you.
And you know what? That is probably what kept me here. The people, my wife, when I met her and her circle of friends, coming from Milwaukee, similar, but maybe a little bit colder. And I was out in Los Angeles for about a year, as you know, and I just didn't like it. It was the people. They're so plastic as the leaves on the trees. It's like, who do you know? What do you wear? What do you drive? And I just had to get out of there. And so I left and went back to Wisconsin for radio. As a matter of fact, there's another fork in the road. When I was out there, I met a guy named Larry Klein who went to my high school, who went to the same university I did, and was looking for a job, went out to California, started on the top of Sunset Boulevard, went to Dick Clark Studios, walked in. 2 years later, he is producing the Bandstand show.
Wow.
And then a couple of years later, he's doing all their shows. And I went down and knocked on the door, met him and Dick and stuff. And he said, sit down. He said, I don't have anything now, but in about 3 months, we're going to start doing the American Music Awards. So it's either starve and hang on out there or go back to Wisconsin and start working radio. And it was another 50-50.
Yeah.
And so obviously I went back.
It really is when you think about it, because that one decision changes your life forever.
Yeah. And, the same thing could go, had I turned right at this, I wouldn't have run into that guy had I gone left. I mean, life is like that, right?
And you don't know.
You don't know.
I know Carl Perkins, who I interviewed here at the Peabody the first time I met him, down at the corner bar. And I asked him one time, I said, because remember, he had blue suede shoes that just come out, and then he had that horrible car wreck in his brand new Cadillac. Yeah. Laid him up for a year, and in that year, Elvis covered blue suede shoes, and his career just took off. It was all the Ed Sullivan, all that happened. And so I asked Carl, I said, you look back at your life, if it hadn't been for that accident, do you think your career and all would have taken off similar to what Elvis had done? He goes, I really never gave that much thought to it. I was so happy that I survived the wreck. But he said, I actually got to lead a pretty normal life. I live in Jackson, Tennessee. I had a family. I'm married only once. Got to play with everybody, the best musicians in the world, and they were all my friends. And he said, my life really couldn't have turned out any better. And, of course, we all know Elvis had his challenges over the years. And,
a guy like that was so well respected. And I'll go back to the night of April 27th, 1993. Paul McCartney was coming into town. It was a no-comp show, no giveaway tickets. And the tickets were an astounding $40.
That's true.
$40 for 1993 was huge. Everybody was barking about it. And so it was no comp. Well, then it was two things. Number one, I got to meet Carl and his family. McCartney was there with his whole family, all three kids, and Linda. And, it was just amazing standing there with Memphis rock and roll royalty and worldwide royalty. And it was an incredible night. And in this video you're going to show, my interview with McCartney followed that. But, Perkins' influence on everybody in the world and the music influence of this whole town, this room, is phenomenal.
Did that amaze you when you first got here? I mean, I met David Porter almost the first month I was here. Thomas Boggs was opening Louis out on Poplar, which is now
Buckley's going to be.
Or Buckley's,
Buckley's, and now it's going away.
And I said, I'm meeting Soul Man the first week I'm here. Then you end up meeting Jerry Lee. The only person I never met was Elvis. He was gone 6 months before I got here.
Oh, yeah.
And but did you realize that because a lot of the people I thought didn't live here anymore, that they had been here. But then all of a sudden you find out, I met Sam Phillips, met his sons.
I thought I knew something about Memphis music. I knew Stax and I knew Sun and all. But when you really start diving into it, the influence this whole area had, the convergence of rockabilly and soul and blues and gospel and all that collides and creates American music. And it was fascinating as I really got into it and started, understanding it, going through Sun and Royal. I mean, Royal had some incredible talent. Everybody, it was just an amazing. I don't know what was in the water, and then you go into the Cropper and Dunn stuff, and the whole Booker T and one high school. Was it Messick? Was that where those guys went, and others?
I think it was. And Booker T was another one that a lot of them went to. And it was
phenomenal.
In fact, when you look at all the movies and everything, you start mentioning Memphis, and I think Memphis is mentioned more songs than any other city in the world. Mm-hmm. And then you look at just the people come here from other musicians to go to Graceland. U2,
right?
When he came here. He was amazed that of all the records, I thought we had a lot of gold records. Then you walk down that hall at Graceland, and you go, "My God!"
Yeah,
and
he was,
and you were working at FM 100 when it was probably one of the most powerful stations in the country. Was it 50,000 watts clear at night?
In the piece here, you'll hear.
Okay.
I took a little clip. 300,000.
300,000.
It was the most powerful station in the nation.
Yeah.
We had 300,000 because we went on the air in 1942, and there was not any FM stations on anywhere, basically.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, somebody brought in a radio, an old Zenith, that had the AM band and the FM band, which existed, but it said FM 100.
That was it.
And that was it. And,
wow.
Yeah, that was it. And so, that heritage going back, of course, they played elevator music until about 68 when they started doing album rock and then flipped.
You were the first station in the country to do LPs and do long play. In a Gata Vida, they never played it anywhere until you guys started playing it.
It was one of John Scott and those guys. They were the Pied Pipers. Now, of course, in the day, WMPS and HBQ were just kicking butt. And, Rick Dees and those guys and Landry and Ron Jordan. And that was, there was a golden age of radio that probably started back in the 2030s. Oh, you know who I'm being inducted with?
Who?
Roy Rogers' wife.
Dale?
Dale Evans is being inducted.
Wow.
The only other person out of Memphis, the Legacy Award. She worked at WMC back in the...
I never knew that.
Nobody did.
Wow.
And they dug it up, and so they're inducting her with Trigger.
I remember when I was a kid, Roy and Dale and the Jeep, Nellie the Jeep,
and Bullet.
And
Bullet the dog.
And
yeah, man.
Trigger the horse. They all came out to Odessa.
I thought that was a rather interesting.
That's huge. Who else is going to be in this class?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know any of the
Do
other
they not
guys.
announce to you all?
Well, they have. They're all announced, but I don't know the guys.
Yeah.
And, it's funny. I went through, as a matter of fact, I wrote down the guys from Memphis who have been inducted. Rufus. Oh, I can almost say the first names.
Yeah.
Rufus, Dewey,
Dewey Phil.
Jack Parnell, who just passed away a couple of months ago. God, what a guy. He's the first guy I ever recorded at Tanner. And he opened his mouth. I went, oh, my God, what pipes, And then Johnny Dark, Wink was in the
Mark
first
Dale.
one, I believe. Dave Brown, of course, is in there. Bobby O.J., Olson's in there somehow. GK and Dees were both inducted the same year,
Wow.
as a matter of fact. And so those are the Memphis guys. There were 2 years that I looked at that there was not one guy mentioned or inducted from Memphis. It was all Nashville and Knoxville, and, it's like,
Well,
okay.
don't you have to be nominated by somebody as a previous inductee?
Yes. And
is it like a board or is it the entire membership?
I think it's the whole membership, and they send out ballots. I'm not sure, to be honest. Well, I am because I had I bought a $30 membership in order to vote for myself.
Well, why wouldn't you?
And and Karen Perrin and Dave Voloshin, and hopefully those two will be in in the very near future. But I talked to the guy who counts the votes. He called me. I didn't get one call from the Hall of Fame. Olson called me, and I thought at the time when we did this little surprise thing you guys did, I thought, he's the king of pranks and jokesters.
It was a joke.
And I thought, that would be the
I'm
ugliest.
not going to bite.
That would be the ugliest joke ever.
Yeah.
Hey, you're in the Hall of Fame. Just kidding.
No, you're not.
Yeah, but anyway, it was a total surprise. I lost my thought, but
Well, I'll tell you what. You mentioned the video. This is a video that partial. You can do some more stuff to it, but
Yeah.
it'll run at the ceremony.
they asked me for a minute and a half, 2-minute montage of some sort. Fortunately, I have a brother-in-law who is one of the best video specialist and media specialist in the whole city. He works for Kevin Kane at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Julian is amazing. And he put this together last night, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
I fed him some stuff.
Well, let's roll it.
Go ahead.
All right, good morning. I'm Steve Conley.
Hi, I'm Denise DuBois.
Hi, I'm FM 100 Steve Conley.
Steve is definitely one of them.
Hey, Memphis, you're listening to Reese Witherspoon, and I really like that Steve.
This is Oprah Winfrey.
Hi, this is Steve Cropper.
This is Ashton Kutcher. You listening to Steve?
This is Johnny Mathis. Happy holidays.
Hey, everybody, it's Al Roker.
Ladies and gentlemen, Conan O'Brien.
All right.
Ron and Steve on FM 100, broadcasting on the most powerful radio station in the nation.
Jessica Chastain.
Delight to talk to you. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Hi, this is Lisa Marie Presley, and you are listening to the station that I grew up listening to.
John Daly.
What's up, David?
Paul's walking out right now. I think we can talk to him. Mr. McCartney?
It's a bit noisy for you.
Is this okay? No, it's fine. Yeah, have a seat. Welcome to Memphis.
Hey, man, thanks. Are we on the air?
Yeah, we sure are.
Hey, listen, thanks for flying that plane around to welcome me. That's really
Did you see that?
He's flying overhead at the moment, yeah?
Thanks. Yeah, a couple of $100. It's a cheap advertisement.
Is that all it costs?
And a cheap greeting, yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
great.
Conley's Queries.
Do you know that monkeys kiss exactly the way humans kiss? Matter of fact, Ron Olson says they're better.
When You Thought I Wasn't Looking by Amy Conley. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw that you cared, and I wanted to be everything that I could be. When you thought I wasn't looking, I looked, and I wanted to say thank you, Daddy, for all the things I saw when you thought I wasn't looking.
Very good.
Thank you.
Your little daughter who went to school in Christ Methodist with our son.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
They grew up together.
Yeah.
What a career, though. When you look at that, what does it make you?
You start reflecting back, like I said, the luck, my God. I mean, think about this, and you've heard the story. 1981, I left Tanner, took a leave of absence, went to Africa, went to Kenya, Madagascar, Ethiopia, and I got fired on a Friday. They said, "You're gone too long, you're gone." So on that Monday night at 12:30 at night in the Addis Ababa Hilton, I get a phone call, and I thought somebody died, and I pick it up, and the guy goes, "Hey, Steve, yeah, who's this?" "Gary." "Gary who?" "Gary Guthrie, program director at FM 100. And Don Myers. As he said, they said, Mark Williams, who's done middays, is going to Baltimore. Would you like the job? Yeah. And so,
I'm fresh out of one.
Yeah, exactly. Good timing. And so shy of 30 years later, the rest was history. And by the way, there were no changes in that core lineup of Olson, me, and Presta Giacomo for about 30 years. Unheard of in Memphis.
Absolutely.
I mean, in radio, period.
Because they came and they went. And I got here, Rick Dees was still here.
Right.
And then he cut his deal with L.A., and then he had the whole thing, controversy over Disco Duck.
Right.
Which Bobby Manuel, who helped write that song with Rick Dees and recorded it.
Did he get credits?
Yes.
Oh, that's
he said
good.
he's made more money off Disco Duck than any other music effort he's ever took part in.
I didn't know he co-wrote that.
Yeah.
And, the other thing is Dees still kicks himself in the butt because that song originally was on RSO, and they were on a side label, Dees' label, and they were going to put him on Saturday Night Fever. And their label people said, no, we think we can sell it by itself. And so there was early pressings of that song on there.
Wow.
And it was the biggest soundtrack of all time.
Well, it really was. And you'd go to Alon's, and they're playing it years later at Alon's.
Sure.
But then he's had a fabulous career as well.
Yeah, still doing it.
But I think he lives in Kentucky in a barn now.
Yeah.
He has a converted barn. And said, I got to get out of Hollywood. He does a top 50 or top 100 thing.
Yeah, Rick Dees' weekly top 40.
Yeah.
Still does it, yeah. But, FM 100, WMC, that whole building was, in the day, it was a juggernaut.
Yeah.
It was just huge. Between Channel 5, which had in the middle to late 80s, into the 90s, had the biggest ratings of any news or any television station, and you mix in the wrestling, which had bigger ratings than the primetime shows of MASH and all the other stuff that was working. It was gigantic.
And then you also had the press seminar and the commercial appeal, all owned by Scripps. And what I never figured out is, why didn't you guys ever work together? But you guys were all butting heads.
It was stupid.
Yeah,
they could have had a synergy that would have been great, but they never did really. But WMC on its own, and then the AM station with Eloise and that whole thing, if you're old enough or whatever, were
AM
around
790.
Yeah, and that was big. So somebody told me, a sales manager at the time said, between radio and television and newspaper, we were pulling something like 78% of the media dollars out of Memphis.
Wow.
In the day. I mean,
I can believe it.
That's insane.
Because I came here with Channel 3, and no matter what we did or tried to, get there first, have extended coverage, and you look at that night on Channel 5, they still kicked our butt. And you go, what do you do?
Like I say, it was a juggernaut in the day.
We've got some pictures here. Let's go through some of these. This first one up is rather interesting. I remember this day so clearly.
Me too.
We found out that Bud Davis Cadillac was going to have an ice cream little gathering there at the new car dealership. And George was going to be there, and you were going to be there. And Ron called me and said, hey, let's go see the Jeeker. And let's go visit with him, because he's such a nice man. And whenever you got a chance to go visit with him and get our picture taken with him, the thing about it, you'd call George, and he'd call you back within the minute.
Yes.
And if he didn't, he apologized for 2 days because he was so disappointed. That
Earl, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't get back to you there. Hey, Earl, did you ever have him on your show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
hey, Earl, give me that lineup one more time.
And then I was on his show. You were on his show.
I was a couple of times.
I think we got a picture coming up.
He'd always ask me, what's that lineup, Steve?
But he was, and he never wanted to come off like he was making money off of Elvis. He said, I just won't do it.
Which he did.
In a way, but it was stuff that he earned because he was actually a companion of Elvis and was around all the time. And then this is you at the Ann and Pat Halloran Lounge, the Pat Halloran Performing Arts Center when they opened that. Or that may have been at his funeral. This
was
at the opening.
I think it was his birthday, and it was his birthday on St. Patrick's Day, I believe, right?
Well, yeah. Well, he considered St. Patrick's Day his day.
Yes, exactly. I think that's where it was. I'm not sure.
I got to work for Pat as director of development for a couple of years, and when I first came on, he says, Earl, I think I'm going to get you to do that a little announcement that we do before each show.
Right.
About looking for the exits. And so you go ahead and record that. And I've been doing it for years. So they run it one time.
And then he went back to it.
Hi, everybody, Pat Halloran. And I said, I wondered how long that was going to last.
Call 535-2000 and do it today. Remember that one?
Oh, absolutely.
He did all his own spots.
Yeah.
He was bigger than life, man. What a character. We would have drinks every 3 or 4 months. When I was with the Horseshoe Casino, I was sentenced there for about 1.5 years, and I had a credit card though. That was the nice thing. The other thing was lunch with George Klein every Tuesday.
Wow.
And free dry cleaning. Those were the 3 good things about the gig. But anyway, free dry cleaning. But I brought the card in. They never questioned me, so I came in, bought drinks for myself and Barry Leff from Beaver and Pat and Jim Holt, and we just had a big time, man. It was so fun. And we would still meet every, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever. Call it the Four Amigos, and just had a great time.
Well, Pat his life was a good time.
Yes,
and he orchestrated it to do all the things you ever wanted to do: have horse races, do Broadway shows. Mm-hmm. But I remember when I did a video biography for Bernard Lansky, and then another one for Charlie Burgos. And I interviewed Pat about Charlie, and Pat said, I'll never forget, Charlie came down and said, because they were going to make him the new president of the Orpheum and oversee the reconstruction and bring it back. And he said, Charlie looked at me, and remember, Charlie used to stick his jaw out, kind of, an underbite, and he goes, don't screw this up. And Pat said, I was more afraid of him than anybody else in Memphis.
I'll bet.
And he said, because you knew Charlie would come get you. And that was the beginning of the return of the Orpheum, which is every bit as significant as the return of the Peabody
this
Hotel.
Building.
Yeah, this
When
building.
I came here and you came here, Orpheum was closed, Peabody was closed, Beale Street was essentially closed except for Schwab's, and
And
you
the
know,
hot
it was
shop
a dump.
across the street, yeah.
It was a dump.
There was nothing happening
I
downtown.
picked my sister up down at the train station, and it looked like Dresden after the bombing. For God's sake, it was amazing.
Well, and people look at it today and think, well, there's nothing happening here. This city has grown by leaps and bounds
Yeah, it
since
really
those
has.
days, and went through a tough time during COVID, but everybody did. And I know that there are a lot of restaurants having a tough time now, which is one reason we came back downtown, is we wanted to say, hey, downtown is still happening.
It really is.
And
people out east, and especially at Germantown and Cairo, I ain't going down there. It was the last time I was. You know what? This is a vibrant, really good city, and it's not too big, it's not too small. It's the biggest small city in America, or the smallest big city in America, and I really love it. I love Memphis, and I'm still here.
Well, me too. In fact, every time I leave, I just got back from Texas, in my hometown for many years, Dallas and Fort Worth. And I cannot wait to get back to Memphis. There are way too many people, and you're just overwhelmed by all the stuff. And Memphis is like a small town. You can get in your car at rush hour and be home in 30 minutes.
Exactly.
No matter what.
Yeah.
What's going on?
And what about Dallas?
Yeah, man, it just keeps getting bigger.
And like Nashville 20 years ago was reasonably sized and had development, but now it's just out of control. And I have a couple of friends who live there. One's been there 40 years, and he said, I hate it.
Well, it's not the same town.
No.
And it is, the streets are narrowed like Austin.
Exactly.
And it was never meant for the infrastructure that they have to have there now to make it work. And the cost of living there is off the charts.
And it's just astounding every time you turn on TV. Entertainment Tonight, the NFL Draft, the whatever the hell it is, the CMA Awards.
And the whole town shuts down.
Oh, my gosh.
And now they're getting a new stadium. And that'll take 2 years or 3 years to build, and then it'll be all screwed up forever. So they can have there's one more picture, then we're going to take a break. This was taken. Look at everybody: Karen Perrin, Ron Olson, you, and my good friend the Beaver.
The Beaver.
I remember when he came here because he was promoting a show at the IMAX called Beavers.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I don't even remember what.
And so he was touring the country because he was the Beav, right?
Yeah.
And leave it to Beaver, Jerry Mathers. And so I was going to follow him around. I was there with you. He came by FM 100 to visit with y'all, and I got shots of that. And then we went to WKNO. We went to all these different radio stations. And we really kind of got to be friends.
Did you really? No joke.
Yeah. In fact, I got him the reservations at Ronnie Grazzani's because he wanted to have dinner. He met some girl at WKNO radio and wanted to ask her out.
You're kidding.
No. And so,
imagine
the Beav.
Yeah, being able to say.
So I call Ronnie Grazzani. I said, listen, Jerry Mathers, the Beav, on the TV show, is in town, and I recommend your restaurant. Can I make reservations for him? He goes, who's Jerry Mathers?
Who's Jerry? I knew that was coming.
Because he said, I've never watched television because he was always working.
Charlie Vergus, when the Rolling Stones were in, and he was going to kick them out.
Yeah.
They said, nah.
Hippies. Nah, let's hang on to these guys. So Jerry, I get him to get reservations. He ended up signing the wall there because remember, Ronnie used to have people signing the wall. And so he goes back to L.A., and so we're sitting at my house with some neighbors and a friend of mine from Texas in. Kathy opens the back door. She goes, Earle, the Beav's on the phone. So she brings the phone out, and we pass the phone around. Everybody wants to say hi to the Beav. Yeah, we corresponded for over the years. I mean, the guy leads just a regular life. I mean, it was a Friday night.
Yeah.
We all said, how come you're not out in Hollywood? He goes, I'm the Beav. You think I'm out high rolling it somewhere?
I hope he's getting good royalties because those early actors in television, they never thought they'd have reruns in 2026. And
I don't know that they did because I know that he and all those characters, just nobody had a track record of doing that. So they didn't know they could.
Right.
But they made good money doing it. But he and Wally both did dinner theater appearances and that kind of stuff. But it wasn't the the celebrity that everybody thought it was, because I followed him around all day. People recognized him, but it's like the guy that was on Flipper, the younger brother. He comes in sleep outs by a restaurant downtown.
Luke Halprin, was that his name?
I can't remember. He had freckles. Remember, there was a blonde kid. The older brother had blonde hair. This kid had kind of red hair and freckles. And then there was Flipper, which the show was about. But so he stops by the restaurant. I'm going around introducing to my staff because I said, the guy was on Flipper. They're looking at him and go, nah, doesn't ring a bell with me. He goes, let's not do this anymore.
Oh, gosh. Amazing.
But we're talking to Steve Conley. He's getting ready to be inducted into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame coming up. Is it August?
No, it's
July?
July 25th, Saturday.
July, it's coming up in just a few
couple
weeks
from Saturday.
And we're going to talk more about it. We got another good video of him when he found out about Ron Olson being selected into the Hall of Fame. So we'll be playing that and a lot more. So stay with us. We'll be right back after some messages from our sponsors.
Right.
Hi, this is Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union at our new headquarters here in Collierville, Tennessee, off by Hellier Road. We are the proud presenting sponsor of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show and are looking forward to a great 2026 where some of the shows will be hosted from our new headquarters location here in Collierville.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today, and we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Carey Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25, and I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching Earl and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Mitch Wright. And I'm his son, Mickey. And we're the owners of Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And proud sponsors of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show.
We're thankful to be part of the Memphis community. We've been in business for 42 years, taking care of people and loving the people of the Mid-South.
Hi, I'm Jamison Totten, the director of Live at the Garden and the Radiance Amphitheater.
Hi, I'm Olivia Wall. I'm the director of marketing communications at the Memphis Botanic Garden.
We've got a great season coming up for you this year.
Next up, we have Little Big Town.
After that, we have Deep Purple and with special guest Kansas.
Coming up, we have John Legend. And now, the rescheduled date for Alabama, September 3rd.
Next, we have Kool and the Gang and Patti LaBelle on September 18th. Our last show. It'll be a great show. So come on out, bring your cooler, your friends, your drinks and your food, and have a great time at Live at the Garden under the stars.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
This is Lance Walker, Fast Talker with Walker Auctions. You're watching Sean McMahon with Walker Auctions. We're setting up a business inventory auction, and this business is not going out of business. They're just reducing their inventory. If we can help you, give Walker Auctions a call, 901-493-1936, or go to walkerauctions.com.
Hospitals ask him for advice. Janitors ask him for autographs. He once cleaned a mirror so well it became a window. He once cleaned a subway pole, and crime dropped 40%. He has never once read the instructions on a bottle of shampoo. The shampoo already knows what to do. Even bleach thinks he overdoes it a little. Soap companies use him as the control group. Even his shadow practices good hygiene. He once cleaned a public restroom. Now it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. His laundry detergent contains 0% chemicals, just a photo of him on the bottle. He once coughed in a hospital, and everyone got healthier. The CDC occasionally calls him for backup. The 5-second rule doesn't apply around him. He organized a junk drawer so well, it's now a museum. He is the cleanest man in the world.
I don't always drink, but when I do, even the ice cubes feel disinfected.
And welcome back. That spot was all AI.
Was it really?
Every bit of it, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No.
When
When Matt,
the future.
the owner of Hilo, sent that to me, and I said, "This is great." He goes, "It's all fake." I said, "You're kidding me." And he said, "No, I just told him what I wanted, sent it to Mexico City. They sent it back a week later, and there you are."
Unbelievable.
Who would have ever thought that when we first started
it's
out?
a daily shock of stuff like that, you just, they have AI radio stations that mimic what we did years ago.
Well,
It's
I saw
insane.
on the Today Show today that this girl that they've made up, she's an AI product, and she's done singing songs, and now she's going to make a movie. And they're going to do an entire AI movie with other celebrities, but it won't be them. It'll be the AI version of them. They're twins, as they say.
Wow.
Steve Conley, who has been in Memphis since 79.
79.
Yeah, I got here in 78. And it was a rock and roll town then. I remember Trader Dick's was there, Solomon Alfred's, Fridays.
Blues City. No, I'm sorry.
Blues Alley?
Blues Alley.
Blues Alley.
Love going in there.
And there was a little black woman about 5 feet tall that was asleep in a chair. It went
what was her name?
It was Miss Somebody.
Yes.
And my parents came to
Brilliant,
visit, and
incredible.
went down and watched her. She would be asleep in this chair. They'd wake her up when they'd come back to play the next set, and she'd stand up there and just sing, and it was just incredible.
That was.
And Mongo had a place
I think
down.
it was Sybil Shepherd's husband what managed that joint, didn't he? At the time.
There were two
believe.
brothers that had stuff on Beale Street and that particular venue at one time. I can't recall their names, but they called them the brothers. And, but there was just such a history of things going on. At Trader Dick's had Rick Christian and the White Boys. I went in there, and I walked up to the bar when I first got here, and I was saying hi to people at the bar. I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And they're all going, "Oh." I asked the brothers, "What's wrong with these people?" They said, "Quaaludes." So I went, what's a Quaalude?
Oh, those days.
Yeah.
Wanted to do one of those. Always wanted to. And on the glitzy side, it was Elan, which was Bond Daddy heaven, and they always had big layouts for food laid out in happy hour. My wife, was a kind of a semi-private club, and you had to have.
You had to be invited to join.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my wife, Mark Lascola, who we both know, was the manager out there. Yeah, Jeannie, come on in.
Yeah.
For any pretty girl.
Well, it was a great place. There was a route you kind of went on. Like Thursday night, it was Houlihan's.
Oh yeah,
Houlihan's, and then Friday nights Elan's,
Right.
and probably Saturday night too Elan's.
And remember Cowboy? Did you go?
Oh yeah,
Cowboy, which was in
because
the attic.
Elan's at first was upstairs at Clark Tower. Then it moved down and expanded downstairs, and that's when they moved Cowboy in because Dallas was so huge back in those days, and so everything became.
And Saturday night. I'm sorry.
What was
the
John
Travolta
Travolta?
film. Yeah.
Urban
Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I looked at that movie. I said, "They ain't no cowboys."
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
This is another photograph here. Who are these folks? Is that Jeannie?
That's Jeannie on the right, and Billy Joel.
That is Billy Joel.
That is Billy Joel.
My God, look at that.
Look at me, doofus.
You look great. Jeannie's as pretty as always. Tell us about this. Did you?
I have a unique distinction. I have gotten to fly with the Blue Angels 2 times. It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal. Even the crew chief, I said, "When do you get to fly this thing?" He says, "On my last day, they take me around." The crew chief, the guy who polishes the plane and fixes it. And so it was brilliant. And the first time I went, I was in better shape. They wanted you to do at least a 10-minute miles, and they wanted you to be in shape. You couldn't be too big, too small. And so I got in this thing, and he did just about every maneuver that they did in the show, which gives you an immense, incredible when you see those planes going banking. That's 7 G's, man. That is, if you weigh 200 pounds, you're 1,200 pounds or whatever. And I mean, you have to bear down because there's no G suits. You'll pass out. And I almost passed out the first time. You start going like this. It's like your vision starts shutting down like an iris of a lens. And I pushed it back. You have to literally go like that. And that's what those guys do through that whole thing. It was astounding. And then the second time, nobody else volunteered. Olson, you want it? Nah, I don't want to do it. So I'll do it. And they never did check,
I got to go up once, and that was enough for me.
You did?
I focused on the dashboard. I just said, don't look up and don't look out the window when you start these barrel rolls.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. But the funniest was with Olson. We went over to the Air Force Base, and it was right East Arkansas. I can't remember the name of the town. They had an Air Force Base there, and they were going to take us up in a C-130. The Black Knight jump team was going to walk out the back and jump.
Oh, wow.
So they walk out and jump, and then they corkscrewed all the way to the ground. The C-130 turns and points one wing straight down, and just in a tight circle comes down like a tornado. I look over at Olson. His face is white.
He's not meant for that stuff.
No, he's good.
At all.
Hi now.
Hey.
Not doing too good over here. We put him in the back of the car, drove all the way back to Memphis. Blytheville was where we went.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And he didn't say an entire word. They'd ask him, "You want to go up?" No, never went up again. But
Yeah.
they are, and you look at the things they have now. It's just amazing, the aircraft and the capabilities they have over there. This is one of the many covers you were on. Interview with Steve Conley.
I was PD of FM 100. Another, you talk about luck. I was leaving FM 100 back in 1980 at March. I was tired. The program director was an idiot, and I was just tired. Robert John.
Yes.
Remember Robert John?
Robert John. Hey, buddy.
Oh, and
he
everybody.
reminded me of the guy that was in that movie about the office where the guys took over the computers.
Yes.
But he would come in, the manager would come in to the guy that's the main character. He goes, "Hey, buddy, listen. I'm going to need you to work this Saturday. That's not a problem, is it?"
Oh, God.
This is this Robert John we work for. That's the reason I left and went back to TV. Is Robert John.
Robert John, he was PD forever, and it's like he wouldn't go, and they thought he was leaving. The girls, two girls, Mary Norman and those guys, they found out he was leaving, and then he stayed. No, I'm staying, and they were crying, literally crying. So anyway, I was going to leave. I was going to work with Bernie Dittman and that Z98 thing with the Randy Lane, and I had given my resignation or typed it up, ready to deliver it. Don Myers knocks on my door and says, "What'll it take?" He gives me a $5,000 bonus. I said, "No, I'm actually leaving." And then eventually he said, "What would it take?" And I said, "PD and this salary." And he goes, "Let's talk." Ken Lowe just happened to be the vice president of radio, happened to be flying in that day. We had lunch at Bombay Bicycle Club, and on a napkin he wrote down program director, and I had that until 95, and then I was doing the morning show with Ron. I was dying. I was way tired. And so I got out, came back in 98.
You were used to doing the noon and the TV.
And it was like nothing. Well, I was doing 12-hour days and writing promos and doing music at night and all that. So anyway, I got out of it, and then guy left a couple years later, and I did it again, interim spot for a while, for another year. And, so anyway, but that was total luck. So many, like your career. I mean, everybody's career, I guess. Everybody's life has turns of luck, and I've had so many.
Well, this is another picture. This is Philip Rawls, who I had on the show. We had him zoom in, and
really?
He's had a very interesting career. And I see your paths crossed.
Record guy,
yeah.
Yeah, he was the consummate record guy. He kept coming up. He was with a label, and he'd be with another label. It was independent, and it was.
What he told me was, like you mentioned a minute ago when you were at the casino, you had a credit card. He said, "I had a credit card."
Yeah.
And I could hand out comp records from our label and people, everybody wanted free records and
sure.
hand those out. But he said the fact I could take my pals out and buy their drinks, it made me like the number one promoter in town. And there you are in one of your famous 70s outfits.
Jesus.
That must have been a party later on.
That was my daughter's disco party, I believe, or something. I don't know what it was. I don't know. So many things we did. And it was that was the magic of this radio station. You mentioned TGI parties. We were so involved in the community, whether it was the Beale Street New Year's Eve or Overton Square. We had 35,000 people with TV5 and us on New Year's Eve. Then 4th of July, the Star Spangled Celebration. For 20 years, they did that. And we had everybody from Al Green, and I was a part of that. Started with doing the music for the fireworks, eventually did the entire thing from top to bottom. And that was probably, at the time, the biggest gathering of Memphians ever.
Well, and Sunset Symphony, remember how popular that was? And
Sure. Of course, Channel 3 did that. You guys did that.
in fact, Pam Crittenden and I emceed that with Eric Braden, who was on Days of Our Lives.
Oh, my gosh.
They fly him in, and we're up there in this announcer stand, and everybody was in white tuxedos with the symphony.
Uh-huh.
And Charlie Rich was the entertainment that
he
night.
was.
And Eric Braden goes, you know, there's something about Memphis, the smell of the magnolias, your beautiful women here. He said, I've always heard about Memphis, but I said, I've been so impressed when you come here. And you think about it, it's all true.
Yeah.
I mean, it is very impressive. You come here, and
that's great.
It's almost like something out of a book. And there you are with George Klein on his show. And I think that's Al Green and peeking over your photo bombing you guys.
George was a trip, man. Like I said, I was lucky in the fact I got this after 100, the son of a bitches at Entercom decided not to keep us and 9 other people.
So still not happy with those guys.
No, well, actually, they were nice. They hired me back 2 years later at that 94 gig doing classic hits, and then the son of bitches fired me again after they flipped the format to country. But I was, in the interim, I was working for Horseshoe Casino. It was these, what was it? I forgot. Anyway, I was one of the hosts down there. What George was.
Yeah.
And so the one great thing about that was every Tuesday, George and my paths met, or schedules met, and I had lunch with George. And you can imagine sitting down with George, having lunch every Tuesday.
On a regular basis, yeah.
And he was a creature of habit like you know that. How he would, on every Friday night, he was at Folks Folly in a corner with a fan and a filet and a baked potato. On Saturday night, he had fried shrimp at Half Shell. On Tuesday night, he was at Coletta's. Every single night. And every day he sat down at the casino. He would take out his cheese and crackers that he got from the Gold Room and from the Diamond Lounge. And he came down, he'd unwrap it. He had 3 cans of tea, and the lady would come down, always the same waitress, like Sharetta or something, and where's Sharetta? What's Sharetta? She'd pour 3 glasses of tea or 3 cups of tea, and then 1 coffee every single day. And he was amazing.
I went with my son over to his house in East Memphis. Did you ever go to his house in East Memphis?
Well, yeah.
The thing that amazed me and my son was it was like a suburban house.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Graceland, and you thought he would like have maybe a midtown old, 18th century home.
Funky little townhouse.
It was a little townhouse. He had a little white French poodle dog that was a yiper, and he would wear these track suits that were usually lavender, crushed velvet.
If he wasn't in a suit for work,
he was wearing
those track suits.
What is this? It's is it you and Olson running with the dogs?
One of those goofy radio prank commercial things that promotions that Southland Greyhound Park called in and said somebody came up with the idea. DJ's racing dog.
Yeah.
And so there's Scooter the dog, and we took off. At the track, some of the races started on the other side. They had a thing over there, and then you could run around. We started at the regular.
And that dirt is hard to run in.
Yeah, it's loose. Yeah. So we take off. It's probably about 120 yards, and we're sprinting down. And just so happens it's a photo finish, and that's a real photo finish picture. And so I won by literally a chin. Look at Olson. I was laughing so hard because this dog.
Were you going down? Did you fall?
No. I just lunged across the line, and the dog, And here comes Rusty. Well, here comes Rusty, and we're like loping, and this dog is going 90 miles an hour around the track, and we just happen to meet at the exact same time.
Wow, that's a great shot.
Great shot. I love that.
And then this, I would save this for last because it's probably your best look ever.
I'm melting.
That was at the old Hyatt Regency. They had this big...
The Chocolate Fantasy.
Chocolate Fantasy.
Yeah,
and apparently people would love to do that, what you did. But somebody told me you guys could not get the chocolate
off your body because they put us on one of those luggage carts, and they put plastic around it in a tub and it would still drip chocolate all over the place. So they took us up to one of the rooms, or me. It was the only one that did it, and I got up there and I washed and I washed and I washed because it's cocoa butter. And I'd soap and water. And I swear to God, Earle, for days I'd be taking a shower and I'd still be digging chocolate out of my ears and out of the back of my head. It was interesting. But Dave Darnell took that picture, as a matter of fact, I believe.
We had him on recently.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he was in town.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Great photographer.
The other one, the stunts that really amazed me is you got on a billboard and spent a number of days in it. Was it in a coffin on the billboard?
No.
Or is that two different things?
No, you're mixing them up. Back, it was actually, I know what year it was. It was 1990 because it was about a month before I got married. Jeannie's bachelorette party was going on the same night as I was buried alive.
Yeah.
I was buried alive for
How apropos.
36 hours to bury drugs or whatever the thing was for charity. And it was this guy, it was a radio thing. Don Myers came up with the idea. Hey, why don't you do this? Okay, well, I asked Preston Giacomo. He didn't want to do it. Olson, hell no. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So you'd go, and this Dr. Silkini guy supposedly would hypnotize you. And they had a coffin, and you would lay in the coffin. They would bury you 6 feet deep at Hickory Ridge Mall where they had those big planters.
Yeah.
Well, they dug all the plants
Dirt
out, and they put this coffin over there, and they buried me 6 feet. And the weird, bizarre thing, supposedly hypnotized me and then put me in here. And
I'd have never done it.
I know. You know, the guy, here's what he did. He said, no, we'll test you. First of all, I asked him, how big is this thing? He said, that's about 6'3". Well, I'm 6'1", so okay, got some inches. Well, it's 6'3" from outer space to outer space. It's about 5'8" inside the coffin. And I'm laying in there. I get in, I go, what in the world am I doing? And this guy, he tested me for claustrophobia by going to his hotel room hours before the thing and put me in a dark bathroom, closed the thing and said, how you doing in there? I said, I'm all right. Okay, you're good. And so, yeah, it was a scam. It was total insanity.
I can't even go into MRI tunnel. Let me out of here.
It was, I'd say, life-changing, but it really, I'll tell you. So anyway, they closed the coffin. They nail it shut.
They actually nailed it shut.
They put the nails in, and then you hear the dirt.
Then you hear
the dirt going onto the coffin, and they start piling the dirt on top. And you're down there with an air tube and a radio and a thing, and there was a telephone in there.
And how far away was the lid from your nose?
It was like by being in a coffin. It was one of those old-time, like, Dr. Cadaverino, or, what was his name? The guy that did the Saturday night show, the Friday night, freaky.
I wasn't here then. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was
everybody screaming the name. But anyway, it was that kind of old-time 80s, 800s coffin. So I get in this thing, and about halfway through night, I never had a panic attack in my life. It started closing in on me like a weird fog, and it just starts consuming. And you have to mentally push it back, and then it starts coming on you again. And I call this guy and I say,
I got to get out.
I got to get out of here. And this guy, I woke him up. It's 3 a.m. He's going, Steve, you're fine. You're in complete control. The hell I'm in complete control. I'm there at 6 feet underground. I can't get up. My back is killing me. It was. And I called Olson that next morning. I said, we're getting out of here. And he said, no problem. So later that night we got out.
Well, I would have never done it, just the thought of it. And remember, they'd roll you in like a carpet and try to get you to do stuff for different kind of promotions. And I ain't going to get into that either. None of
Dressing up like Wonder Woman.
And then the billboard, that was something where you guys...
we did 48 hours, more than 48 hours up on Olson did the billboard thing with Terrence McKeever. I never did the billboard, but we did do... it was for Make-A-Wish. Matter of fact, I have a $750,000 tattoo on my leg when Patricia Brown, who you remember, used to run Make-A-Wish, and our goal was $500,000. Well, we got into it about midway through. She said, I think we can do $750,000. I said, and on the air, and I said, Patricia, if we can do $750,000, I will tattoo the Make-A-Wish logo on my body. And so down here is a little wishbone that they tattooed on, and we raised the $750,000. Last minute, I mean, it's like the 11th hour and 11th second, and all of a sudden she comes in with $100,000 in checks and pushed us over. But
you got the tattoo.
I got the tattoo. About a week later, the guy's in there, and it's supposed to be a wishbone with a ribbon around it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the guy was drunk, and it just looks like a blue blob around the wishbone. And then get this, 6 months or so after all that happened, Make-A-Wish changed their logo to a star.
That didn't make any difference
so it's
anyway.
like I got a wishbone, yeah.
We've got one more video. This is you when it was announced that Ron Olson was going to be in the Hall of Fame, which you're now going into. But I could tell that you came over to the radio station where I was working at the time. We did this little interview, and I said, "So what do you think, Ron Olson?" And I don't think you were that thrilled. Roll the video.
Well, probably a little jealous.
All right, we're here with Steve Conley, and I guess you've probably heard the news by now. Your old partner, Ron, being inducted into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame.
Ron who?
Olson, of course.
Oh, Olson. You know, I listened to him just a little bit over the years. I really didn't catch much, but gosh, congratulations, Ron. That's great. That really is good. No, I worked with Ron for, 16, 17 years, something like that. In the mornings and even before that when I was programming FM 100 and great radio station. And those were, the golden years of radio, especially here in Memphis. I mean, you go back into the 40s and that was good. But he was the flag bearer, man. He was the guy that started back in the 70s and, playing rock and roll on FM 100 on FM, which was almost unheard of back in the day. And look where he is now. Just about the same place. Congratulations, Ron. That's good. I can't believe you found that clip, man. That's funny.
We save everything.
Yeah, that's good.
But congratulations to you, Steve,
Thank you.
because you
Thanks.
certainly deserve it, as all the other recipients who are from Memphis
Yeah.
do, because you're really part of history. I mean, we think about it, personalities, on-air personalities. Look back at Fred Cook, John Powell, the crew over at Rock 103. You guys had that
Tim
huge
McCormick's in there. That's right.
competition with each other.
Yeah.
They put up a billboard right across from 1960 Union Avenue.
Oh, it was the Wake Up Crew, something, and no Ron Olson.
Yeah.
And that's when they said, "Can you do the morning show?" I said, "Okay." And, it's funny. When we started back in 94, it was Ron was kind of pushing back a little bit, and eventually it started taking hold. And when I really knew that morning show was taking off, and I knew that we had it, was when I went out to the golf tournament back in June, when it was in June, and I went out and started talking to people, and and people were responding. Oh, I listen, and then all of a sudden I knew that we got something, and it just continued. And we, we didn't necessarily have the number one ratings. A lot of others, K97 had big ratings, DIA, but we had what they call the power ratio, and that was
the demographics.
Demos and dollars to ratings. And, that ratio, we always did real well.
Well, and continue. People still listening to you, still listening to Ron and Karen.
By the way, that's afternoon show on 95.3, The Rebel, North Mississippi's own.
But as I said to you the other day, we're all still doing something in the business. And that's something to be said for that, too.
I'm I have a studio at the house like you do, and that makes it a lot easier. Olson's still going in at, getting up at 4:45. I can tell he's tired. I said, "How you doing?" "I'm tired. I'm always tired." And that takes its toll after a while.
Anybody that has never done a morning show has no concept of how tired you get.
And you did mornings for years, and TV morning show is a lot different than radio.
You actually had to be able to look into the lens.
Yeah,
and good
put
morning.
your makeup, your hair and makeup. Well, you didn't have to work with the hair much, but the makeup, and you had to. And these guys got to get up at 2:00, 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
and be in there by 3 or 3:30.
For years, I got up at 3:30, and I was on location at 4:30, and then I did 5.5 hours at Fox. Got through at noon. And then I did a radio show from 3 until 6.
Oh, you were. That's too much.
And I was in bed by 8 with my kids. We watch Andy Griffith and go to sleep at 8.
Oh, God. That's. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you do that.
I'm only 23. Take a look at me.
We all do things. I think it's this award and whatever. It's a combination of perseverance and I'm I'm not the smartest person at all in radio by far. And matter of fact, I've fooled a lot of people over the years. But I think I'm clever, and I'm curious, and I think that's maybe the key to my success is that I've always been curious and clever and passionate about what I do. I love it, and so maybe that's what.
I was talking to somebody today about you coming on. He said he had been somewhere where you were greeting people. It may have been at the golf trip. But he said all these people kept coming up to you and say hi. He said, I was so impressed by the fact that he spent the time to talk to them and spend a few minutes, and then they would say great, and then walk off. Somebody else would come up, and they said, that's really the true sign of somebody that really cares about what he does, is what he does when nobody is apparently watching.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a real tribute to you.
I love radio and the fact that it is a personal medium. It's one-on-one. And back in the day, before the Death Star of satellite radio and internet, literally a billion choices, back in the day you had the radio, you had the 5 push buttons, you only used probably 3, Conley's talking too much, hit it, or you had silence, or you had tapes in your own tape, and you got tired of the tapes, so we had a captive audience. We had them.
But they actually felt like you were talking to them.
Exactly.
It wasn't like you were talking to a big audience of people.
Yeah, and you had a personal connection with the listener, and they had they knew they remember when my daughter was born, or the first day she went to school, or whatever the heck it is, and so many other things that.
Which is what local radio and TV was all about, was shared experiences with your audience.
Exactly.
And the places you go eat, the places the movie you saw last night. Which I think the real mistake that's being made is somebody said, I heard Clear Channel laid off 200 on-air personalities a week or so ago.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Nationwide. I didn't know they had that many left, but they're all trying to do this, consolidation where one crew is doing 9 cities, but it's not local anymore.
If you're listening to the radio, chances are if you go by the building, number one, they'll have 7 signals. They'll have maybe 1 car in the driveway.
Yeah.
They'll have one guy doing, especially big groups like Intercom or whatever it is now at Odyssey, they'll have one guy doing 5 markets. They'll have everything's on voice track. Nothing is live virtually except maybe a morning show or 2. And it's so different. It's so cold now. And so incredibly different than it was. And let's face it, the audiences have shrunk. I mean, you have to acknowledge it's obvious. And the markets have shrunk. And everything's fragmented. But in the day, man, we had them. It was you had us or nothing. And really. And you had 3 channels on television.
Yeah.
And even at home, you had 3 channels of TV, you had a newspaper, and you had the radio. Now, of course, it's totally different.
Have to wonder what it'll be like in 20 more years. But
yes.
In the meantime, congratulations
Thank
to you again. Thank you for coming in and spending some time with us.
I enjoyed it. It's just cathartic. It's just fun. And I've been your buddy for, going back. I think when I met Jeannie in 83, that's when I met you. Some party up at 99 Tower. That was a good one.
That's where I used to live. Huh?
Yeah, I know.
All right, Steve Conley, thank you again. And that is our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.